Voodoo conjures up images of mysterious ceremonies, frightening ceremonies, bloody with the sacrifice of animals, strange and secret rites. This is Dambala, the ritual of the supreme being of Voodoo, father to all the gods. Voodoo gods become one with the dancer, enter his body, speak with his tongue. Impervious to pain, trance and dance are joined in a frenzy of sight and sound. Here we see Ogun, the fire god, god of war. Temperamental and savage, he thrusts his sword with wild abandon.
Something of that sort. But we call it vital force. And simply by being battered with those leaves will give you immediately strength and courage. It will replace your own vital force. And I think this part of it has much greater value. Those ceremonies are very old. Some people say hundreds of years, but it looks much more like if it was thousands of years, many thousands of years. This portion is an Ogun ceremony. It is a ceremony to the god of fire, Ogufe or Oguferai, the blacksmith god, is the god of fire. This ceremony to Ogun, our hero, we say hero because most of the Haitians who went into the war of revolution against the French settlers were all possessed by Ogun. That's why he's so fiery and so fierce.
Violent.
He's somewhat violent, so to speak, because he is the god of war, the god of fire.
Why did you participate suddenly when it wasn't planned in the ceremony?
The spirit has arrived much quicker than we expected. We can see the mambo who is in trance right now. For a minute we were left without a head, so that's why I had to go and carry on the process. This ceremony that we're looking at right now is the ceremony to Bakulu Baka. Bakulu Baka is the good ancestors. This is the good ancestors who are showing their strength, their power over fire. They are strong, they are powerful, and they are the one showing us how strong they are.
How do they keep from getting burnt?
They cannot get burned because it is not them who is there, it is the spirit. It's like the one who is eating the glass. It cannot be cut because it is the spirits doing it. It is completely the spirit. The body that you see there is just a support, it is just a horse. What is being said is that come to us, Miyavalu, come to us. Show us how great you are. Show us how powerful you are. We will then believe in you more than we have done so far. And this is when the spirit arrives. And he does his things. He chews on the glass. He chews on the fire. In his hands, fire doesn't burn. This is why he's the god of fire. That's why he's powerful. That's why he's strong. That's why we do believe in him. The spirit has just left her body.
But she will be all right.
She will be fine. And what has remained is what we call a cadaver, her body. It will take a while before her own spirit gets back into her head, where she will become again her own self. He is showing his mastering. This is why the horse cannot be burnt. Not only the horse, nobody around him can be burnt because he controls that fire, the total intensity of that fire. The ritual does not change. The ritual is the same. And this is why we call it the tradition, because it has to remain fixed. We have seen Bakulu Baka, another spirit. Bakulu Baka, who is the spirit of ancestor, the good ancestors. They are the ones who show their strength, their power, by dancing with the fire, by chewing on the ember, by showing their strength. And it is at those moments that us, Voodooists, Haitians, whenever we do look at those manifestations that are way above what any one of us can do normally, that's when we say, thank you, we say, Aïe Bobo, we say it is great. And our faith is then renewed at every ceremony.
We're at the temple of Odette Latuawina, a Haitian choreographer who blends the creation of dance with voodoo ritual and tradition. She's also a mambo, a priestess. Odette, how long have you been a mambo?
About 7 years now, Alan.
Now, how are you able to combine both dance and voodoo?
It was a natural thing because I could, being a mambo and participating at all ceremonies, and as you know, in the voodoo they have a lot of dancing. And I thought it would be a nice idea to combine the real ritual for a stage presentation. This is something which is dedicated to Ursule d'Antor. Ursule d'Antor was oftenly called Ursule J Rouge, which means Ursule Red Eyes. He's a very strong deity, and one of his attributes is to eat fire. And the girl who is dancing it is an actual priest, not a mambo, but she's a unsi. And when she's possessed by Ursule d'Antor, she has a double personality. She's another person. She's under the possession of that deity, and she's acting like she would.
She is protected by the god.
She is protected because before she goes on stage or before she does that, she would ask her protector to help her, just be able to do that dance. I have worked a lot with Haitian dancers, but they're all very strong about believing in what they're doing. Although they think it's a theater work, but that is something different. It doesn't stop them from really feeling what they're doing.
Ruler of the underworld. As Legba represents the primal force funneled through the sun, Gede represents the death and rebirth of the sun as it passes into the night. In rebirth, he represents the sexuality and eroticism that maintains the continuity of the race. Possessed by Gede, the participant is aggressive, sexual, bawdy. We are in the peristyle of the Hunga known as the Captain. The Captain is dressed in the black tailcoat, black hat, and purple scarf favored by Gede. He calls on the god to come forth. The mambo, the priestess, echoes his call to the beat of the drums. They shake the rattles close to the ground to catch the attention of the gods in the netherworld. The rhythm of the drums increase their tempo as Gede, heeding the call, begins to manifest. As the participants are possessed, his erotic playfulness becomes evident.
If you see a voodoo ceremony the first time in your life, it's something strange, especially if you see it in the interior, not used to white tourists or to foreigners.
On October 29th, we go to the Villa Mystique to visit the Hungan Gesna. We visit his temple, where many of the wealthy come to lose themselves in the rites. Considered the wisest of the Loa, Gede has absorbed the knowledge of all who have died. He teaches acceptance of the nature of the world, while he makes fun of the hypocrisy that man uses to mask himself. Those possessed by Gede express and act out fantasies, sexual or otherwise, fantasies they would never attempt normally. Some of the spirits that come through represent Gede's principal assistants. They are called his generals. Gede's generals follow him everywhere. Virtually everyone is expressing Gede. Bar Voodoo, a drinking place in the center of Port-au-Prince. At night, the Bar Voodoo becomes a temple in which the Hungan owner leads his people in the exotic dances of Gede. The loose sexuality of the participants and of those possessed becomes obvious.
Singing and dancing for Loa is to us most important, because to us, life is rhythm. Without rhythm, there's no life. When rhythm stops, life also stops. So whenever we want to gratify our spirits, we sing and dance for them. We feel that this is the best way of giving ourselves and ultimately to receive them, which is the best gift one can receive.
The Bar Voodoo will not close this night, this Eve of All Souls. Tomorrow there will be the animal sacrifice at Gesna's temple.
The dead live in space and the living ones live in time. And they met together in the cosmos. I told you that Gede said the dead and the living are all my children.
We are on the last day of the festival. There will be many animal sacrifices, culminating in that of a large black bull. He tells obscene jokes, smokes cigars, flirts suggestively with anyone, regardless of sex. As they are falling into trance, they are putting on the black and purple of Gede. Animals to be sacrificed as food for the gods are ritualistically purified before being killed so that the gods will not be offended. Gede demands black animals, but each of the gods has his own preference. Here the black chickens are held up to the four corners, the four directions that point outward toward eternity. The chickens then are passed over the bodies of the assistants to cleanse them. The legs and wings are broken so that the chickens will not fly free. They must not release any impurities upon the world. Lastly, the neck is wrung. Everything has meaning. The black goats are being cleansed by being swung in the air. They are incapacitated first by having their testicles cut off. The Hungan tosses the testicles up in the air, and if they catch on the overhead wires, Gede has accepted the offer. The people all laugh and cheer because the offer has been accepted. The goats' throats are cut, the blood collected to be used in healing the sick. Everything has meaning. Everything has purpose. Gede has now sucked the life force from these animals, and the god is satisfied. Due to the scarcity of food, Haitians are not sentimental towards animals, and as there is no refrigeration, they are quite used to slaughtering them on the spot. There's nothing morbid about this. The sacrifices are seen as transference of life to the gods and then back to the individual. The carcasses can now be prepared and cooked for the evening feast. The bull is tied to a very special tree. The tree is Gede's tree. Everything seems informal, almost improvised, but the cleansing and preparing of the bull for sacrifice follows a set schedule and ritual. The bull is the most important sacrifice. The evening brings the feast. All is merriment and laughter. The week-long celebration finally draws to its close in a burst of wild abandon and joy. Gede, being the god of eroticism, it is not unusual for his feast to turn into a real orgy, for he will cause the body he has taken over to mount anyone he chooses indiscriminate of sex. It is known for him to possess many at the same time. What we are witnessing is a celebration of life. Haitian voodoo is very important to the preservation of the African heritage. Every year, students, scholars, historians, and sociologists arrive from most of the African nations to study the cultural mores and traditions of voodoo. With the great speed of industrialization that has taken place throughout Africa, the continent has been brought into the 20th century within the space of 50 years. Much of the meaning and ritual of the old African religion and way of life has been lost. In Haiti, it remains virtually intact. Voodoo is practiced as it was 200, 500, even 1,000 years ago. Since very little of the ancient traditions were put down in manuscript form, there are virtually no records. So consequently, Haitian voodoo is the last great reservoir of information and actual practices of the old black religions of voodoo. It is possibly the most important export that Haiti has to offer in today's world.